The Chronos had done its work. The journey into the past, into the heart of history, had begun. The future, for Julian and Noah, now lay not in the ashes of tomorrow, but in the cradle of hope, amidst the unfolding miracle of the Nativity. Their escape was a desperate gamble, a flight from the ashes of a broken future, a leap of faith into the enigma of the past. Their journey, however, was only just beginning. First test and failure. The first test was less a triumphant launch and more a controlled tremor. The zero-point energy reactor, that chaotic heart of the Chronos, sputtered into life, a cacophony of high-pitched whines and low, guttural rumbles that vibrated through the floor and into Julian's bones. The superconducting rings of the temporal displacement unit pulsed with an eerie, ethereal glow, their intricate patterns flickering like a trapped aurora borealis. The air crackled with the raw power of harnessed spacetime, a tangible manifestation of the immense energies they were manipulating. Anya, her face pale but determined, monitored the reactor's output, her fingers flying across the console, making minute adjustments to maintain stability. Elias, his brow furrowed in concentration, meticulously checked the gravitational distortion readings, his eyes glued to the complex equation scrolling across his monitor. Ben, young and wide-eyed, nervously watched the quantum entanglement metrics, his fingers hovering over the emergency shutdown button. The target date was set for a mere 5 minutes into the past. A minuscule temporal jump, a baby step in the grand scheme of their ambitious journey. Julian, however, understood that even this small leap was fraught with danger. A miscalculation, a slight imbalance, could have devastating consequences. He initiated the sequence, his hand trembling slightly as he pressed the activation button. The Chronos shuddered. Not a violent shake, but a deep, resonating vibration that seemed to penetrate to the very core of their being. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of ozone and the palpable tension of the moment. Then, a strange quiet descended. The hum of the reactor faded, the glow of the temporal displacement unit dimmed, and the air itself seemed to still. Readings, unstable, Anya reported, her voice strained. Significant spacetime distortion detected. Elias's face paled. The gravitational field, it's collapsing. The initial success was short-lived. The temporal displacement unit had functioned, briefly, sending a small, localized distortion into the past. But the process was far from smooth. The attempt to return to the present was even more problematic. The return sequence malfunctioned. The gravitational field created by the temporal jump did not collapse smoothly, instead, it imploded inward, creating a localized gravitational anomaly that threatened to destabilize the entire system. The shielding system, while robust, was overwhelmed, the quantum entanglement fields flickering erratically and straining under the immense pressure. The Chronos lurched violently, throwing Julian and his team against the walls of the control room. Alarms blared, a deafening chorus of warnings that echoed through the dilapidated facility. The air shimmered, warped, as if the very fabric of reality itself was being torn apart. Paradoxes, the most feared consequence of their time travel experiments, threatened to engulf them. Ben, his face contorted in panic, slammed his hand on the emergency shutdown button, severing the power to the reactor. The Chronos fell silent, the unsettling hum replaced by a heavy, oppressive quiet. The gravitational anomaly slowly dissipated, the shimmering distortion in the air gradually fading. They were safe, for now. But the experience left them shaken. The failure was a sobering reminder of the sheer complexity of time travel, the unpredictable nature of spacetime, and the profound risks involved. The first test had not been a success. It had been a near-catastrophic failure, a brush with oblivion that underscored the precarious nature of their endeavor. Despite the setback, the team pressed on. The data they'd collected was invaluable. The near-disastrous implosion of the gravitational field, while terrifying, had provided crucial insights into the weaknesses of their system. The following weeks were spent in intense analysis of the data, poring over readings, recalibrating equations, and modifying the Kronos' components. Julian, driven by a relentless determination, relentlessly pursued solutions. He tweaked the algorithms that controlled the temporal displacement unit, fine-tuning the resonant frequencies of the superconducting rings to ensure a smoother, more controlled temporal jump. He improved the shielding system, reinforcing the quantum entanglement fields and integrating additional layers of electromagnetic shielding. He also developed a series of contingency plans to mitigate the risks of gravitational anomalies and paradoxes. The second test was more cautious, more controlled. The target time was again a mere 5 minutes into the past, but the approach was different. They implemented a series of checks and balances, ensuring every system functioned correctly before initiating the temporal jump. This time, the temporal jump was smoother, the gravitational distortion less severe. The return journey was fraught with anxieties and moments of sheer terror, a tightrope walk between success and absolute devastation. Each blip on the monitors sent shivers of fear through the team. They could feel the very fabric of spacetime straining, threatening to tear around them. Like a distressed canvas. The return to the present was shaky but ultimately successful. The third, fourth, and fifth tests were similarly fraught with difficulty and narrowly averted disaster, revealing more nuances in the capricious nature of manipulating spacetime. Each failure, however agonizing, brought them closer to understanding the Kronos' limitations and finding solutions. With each attempt, they refined their methods, meticulously addressing the problems that had emerged, always pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. Julian's team, united by their shared goal and an unwavering sense of urgency, never faltered. The risk was immense, the stakes were higher than any of them had initially imagined, yet their calm knowledge and relentless efforts brought them closer to success, inch by agonizing inch. The process of refining the time machine was a torturous one, but the goal, to save Noah from the ashes of a dying world, propelled them onward. The threat of paradoxes hung over them like a dark cloud, a constant reminder of the fragile nature of their endeavor. Yet, with each iteration, they moved closer to harnessing the immense, volatile power that lay at the heart of their machine. Their journey was one of constant struggle, a delicate dance on the knife's edge of temporal reality, with the weight of their survival, and possibly the fate of the future, precariously balanced in the scales. The leap of faith. The air hung heavy with the scent of ozone and anticipation, a stark contrast to the acrid smell of burning that had become the constant companion of their lives for the past decade. Outside, the ravaged landscape of what was once a vibrant city now lay shrouded in a perpetual twilight, the sky choked with the ash and dust of a dying world. Yet, within the confines of the Kronos, a different kind of energy thrummed, a desperate hope, a defiant will to survive. Months of relentless work, of near-catastrophic failures and agonizing setbacks, had culminated in this moment. The Kronos, their improbable time machine, stood ready for its final, most daring test. Julian ran a hand through his already disheveled hair, the lines etched deep into his face a testament to the relentless pressure he had endured. He cast a look at his team, their faces reflecting the same mix of apprehension and determination. Anya, with her sharp intellect and unwavering resolve, meticulously checked the temporal displacement unit's calibration one last time. Elias, a master of gravitational physics, double-checked the intricate algorithms that would guide their journey through the treacherous currents of spacetime. And Ben, the youngest of their group, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe, ensured the emergency protocols were primed and ready. 5 minutes, Anya announced, her voice barely a whisper, her eyes fixated on the monitors displaying a cascade of complex equations. To the era of our forefathers, 5 BC. A profound silence descended upon the control room. The hum of the Kronos' reactor was a low, almost imperceptible thrum, a heartbeat of controlled chaos. They were not merely traveling through time, they were leaping into the unknown, venturing into a period whose historical records were fragmented, shrouded in the mists of myth and legend. They were gambling everything on this one, final throw of the dice. Cole, a man haunted by the specter of a dying world, stood a little apart from the team, his gaze lost in the distance. His presence was often felt more than seen, a quiet observer, a man who carried the weight of their mission on his shoulders. His silence wasn't born of apathy, but from a profound introspection, a grappling with the enormity of what they were about to do. He was a historian, a scholar who had dedicated his life to the study of ancient civilizations, his expertise proving invaluable in their quest to pinpoint the precise moment in the past that would offer them a chance at survival. His detailed studies of ancient texts, including the enigmatic Book of Enoch, had helped them decipher some of the cryptic messages detailing a possible time-traveling escape route for a small community similar to their current circumstances. While the others focused on the technical aspects, Cole was responsible for understanding their destination, a journey that wasn't simply about coordinates in spacetime, but also a plunge into the heart of a very different world. Cole's motivations went beyond the mere survival instinct that drove the others. He felt a deep connection to the past, a reverence for the civilizations that had once flourished on this very earth, a recognition that this was not simply about transplanting a few human beings from one point in time to another. This was about inheriting the world from his ancestors, about seeking the seeds of faith and resilience to ensure that the future they sought would be different. His hope extended beyond the practical, it involved a faith that transcended the tangible. His was a leap of faith to the very foundations of humanity's perseverance. He wasn't a man of science in the same way the others were, but his contributions were undeniable. His knowledge of ancient languages, of the subtle shifts in cultures and beliefs, served as the compass guiding their journey through time. He saw the past not as a sterile historical record, but as a tapestry woven with threads of hope and despair, of triumphs and tragedies, of faith and doubt. The whispers from the past, the echoes of ancient prayers and prophecies, resonated within him, strengthening his conviction that their mission was not merely plausible but profoundly meaningful. The weight of his responsibility was immense. He carried the burden of his people's hopes, their dreams, their fears. The future of his community, even the possibility of human survival, rested on the shoulders of this scholar-historian who had a profound faith, a belief in the resilience of humankind and a trust in the possibility of a better tomorrow. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. Julian pressed the activation button. The chronos shuddered, a deep, resonant vibration that seemed to penetrate to the very core of their being. The air crackled, the scent of ozone intensified. Then, a strange silence, heavier than the preceding din. The world around them seemed to dissolve, colors swirling into an ethereal vortex, the very fabric of reality tearing at its seams. The journey was not a simple transition, but a violent, disorienting experience. The gravitational forces shifted, crushing them, pushing and pulling them in unexpected directions. Time itself felt fluid, the boundaries between past, present, and future blurring. The Chronos' advanced shielding system, honed through countless trials and modifications, fought a desperate battle against the forces of spacetime, protecting them from the paradoxes that threatened to unravel their reality. It was a test of the machine and, more importantly, a test of their faith in their shared mission. The journey was long, and moments of doubt and despair threatened to overwhelm them. The fear of failure, of being swallowed up by the unforgiving forces of time, was a constant companion. But their shared hope, their mutual trust, and their unwavering resolve held them together, like a fragile thread binding them to the possibility of a future that lay beyond the reach of their failing world. This was a journey into the past, yes, but it was also a journey into the heart of their own courage, their own determination to overcome what seemed to be insurmountable odds. It was a journey powered not only by science, but by faith, a leap of faith into the unknown, a testament to the resilience and enduring hope of the human spirit. They were not just time travelers, they were pilgrims on a desperate quest for salvation, armed with both scientific knowledge and a profound sense of faith in a better future. The end of their journey was merely the beginning of another. They were trading one world for another, hoping against hope that the world they were approaching wasn't already in its own ashes of tomorrow. The weight of their mission, the magnitude of their undertaking, settled heavily upon each one of them as the temporal displacement unit continued its work, pulling them closer and closer to their long-shot destination in 5 BC. The future, their future, the future of humankind, hung precariously in the balance. Only time would tell if their courageous leap of faith would find its footing.